الله والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد أحبتي في الله، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسأل الله الكريم رب العرش العظيم أن يتولنا في الدنيا والآخرة. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Almighty to accept our good and forgive our evil, protect us from kulli su wa makruh, bless us all with ikhlas, wa thabat ala sunnat al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Ahabati fillah, a question was asked, what tips can you give me for learning the Arabic language? So this is a very important question, and it is a question that many of us have or have had. What can we do in our studies for Arabic? How are we going to acquire and attain the language so that way we can learn our deen? Well, first and foremost, ahabati fillah, one of the points, as I just elaborated upon, is you have to know why you're learning the Arabic language. Are you learning it because you want to watch Al Jazeera in Arabic? You want political discourse, you want to know politics, or is it because you want to learn your deen? You want to be able to go to the Quran and the Sunnah with a better understanding. And so, first and foremost is your intention. Secondly, is that you have a good teacher and a good curriculum. So gaining a teacher sometimes can be challenging for people, maybe sometimes in your local community, maybe through an online program, or if you're blessed and you're able to travel and study in an Islamic university or institute, then all of this is khair. But if not, and you end up having to study on your own, that's going to take even more, that's going to be more challenging, meaning that you're going to need to have a lot of discipline to keep active in your studies, that you are disciplining yourself in your time, and so making a lot of effort in keeping yourself motivated. And one of the tools when you think about language acquisition, meaning learning a language, and that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about English or Spanish or Arabic. Aside from the general motivation that it requires when you look at how we acquire languages, how children learn, they don't go in depth in the grammar initially, and they don't go in depth in other things. They're just listening. They're listening and they're learning the basics, even from the alphabet when it comes to reading and writing. So concentrating your energy on learning to read Arabic, first and foremost, learning the alphabet, then putting the letters together. And there are many books and curriculums, some of them are free, in which you can learn that. So you need to find a curriculum and be consistent. And that really leads into the last point, is the consistency, in that you don't want to start, maybe you finish the book 1 in Medina or book 2 in Medina series, and then you stop for 6 months or a year, and then you end up forgetting and you have to go back to where you left off. All of these challenges are grave, make it much more difficult for you in your acquisition of the language. You need to be consistent. You need to be a program that's going to, in which you can finish the required text. So that's very, very important that you strive your best to be consistent in your studies and not have a break, and not, if you take a break, it's a short break. It's for a couple of weeks. It's, a week, a couple of days or whatever, but you're not taking months off, because you will forget what you learned. And this mumarasa, this consistency, only comes through being consistent. Lastly, ahabati fillah, those are some of the most important tips that I can think of regarding acquiring the Arabic language. And it does depend on your level and the stage of your learning. For example, someone who already, their intention is to learn the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to learn more about their religion, and they already know the alphabet and they already have some Arabic, then for them, doing a lot of listening and reading of the Quran, because if you can read the Quran, the better that you can read the Quran, then the easier it is to read other texts that you can, just begin to read, even if you make mistakes in some grammatical issues, as far as the what is known as like i'rab, the way we talk about the words and the endings of the words and how they, depending on whether it's a noun, it's a verb, or a letter, or a preposition, or what have you, those more advanced skills you will gain. But by listening a lot, listening to scholars teach books, listening to the Quran and reciting and reading the Quran and reading hadith, you just find that you begin, after time, it becomes natural. And I'll give you my example. There was a time it was so difficult for me. Now it's much easier. Doesn't mean I'm super fluid or anything, but now I can pick up books, and my mistakes, depending on the text, might be not so great or more minimal because of my knowledge of the Arabic grammar. So it comes natural. It becomes a part of you after time. And that is the point of the consistency, the mumarasa, that you have to be consistent. And sometimes I recall my Sheikh Saeed bin Halayl, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, one of our scholars in Haiel, Saudi Arabia, that I remember once I was struggling. I was like, Sheikh, I only understand 70% of the durus, and we're studying Tirmidhi, we're studying Muwatta Imam Malik, we're studying Sharh Sunnah li Imam Barbahari. I feel frustrated. I only understand 70%, and you want me to read, and I'm the reader. But should I take some Arabic classes as well? He said, no. He said, read 2 pages of Ibn al-Qayyim every day and keep studying. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, to accept our good and forgive our evil. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.